Hello everyone, I'm Rachel and you're listening to Let's Talk Avatar. This is a watch through of The Legend of Korra. Isaac and I will be discussing each episode and giving our opinions on it. Just as a reminder, this podcast does contain spoilers for The Legend of Korra. This is a teen-rated podcast, so listener discretion is advised.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Let's Talk Avatar podcast. I am Isaac.
And I'm Rachel.
And today we will be discussing episode 3 of season 3 of The Legend of Korra. It is titled The Earth Queen.
So excited.
Okay, since we are already mentioning the Earth Queen, it's literally in the title, I'm going to talk about her design.
Okay.
One of my favorite character designs in the entire Avatar universe.
Really?
Just like the jewelry, the coke nails.
I could see that. They do make her very like glamorous in the Earth Kingdom world, I guess you could say.
She's like I don't know how to explain it. She gives me like Kim Kardashian Avatar version vibes, but she's like also really, really, really mean.
Yeah.
So
I could see that.
But anyways, episode starts off amazing. There's like this comforting nostalgia because obviously in the last series, Let's Talk Avatar, the last Airbender, they were in Ba Sing Se for a minute.
Yeah.
When I say minute, I mean like entire season. But yeah, it looks like the poor people got more poor and the rich got more rich.
Sounds familiar.
America, explain. Right off the bat, there's this really cool cinematic intro where they show the entire city of Ba Sing Se, and it's just so, I don't know how to explain it. It's like beautiful, even though there's like obviously slums. Mm-hmm. But
the slums give me like Chinatown feels, like in a big city like New York or
I think that's what they were
California,
going for.
like San Francisco, those kinds of areas. They did a really good job. And there's kind of, for me, a like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a very good aesthetic about it. You know what I mean? Like it's pleasing for me. I don't know why, but I kind of like that.
It
like
makes
beat
sense.
up, definitely abused kind of town look. You know,
it's comforting, right?
It kind of is. I guess you could say.
It's
obviously,
comforting in a weird
know,
way.
if you were there, it'd be like Seattle, nasty pee smelling everywhere. But there's like a glamorous view about it when you look at it. You know,
there's like this market town within the like outer ring, and it gives you that. I don't know what my throat just did there, but it gives you that kind of like. I don't know.
I guess for me, and you see this in this episode, I'm kind of jumping ahead. When you are when you're poor and you're living in that situation, you depend on one another to make it through life. And I love that. Like, I love being with family. I love leaning on one another in a healthy way, you know? And I feel like that's kind of what this city reminds me of. It's like, yeah, you know, they're poor. It's a beat up town, but like they're still enjoying life. They're still enjoying each other's company. And that's all that matters, you know? We'll get to a little more about that later on.
The first thing I thought about when they show Mako and Bolin's family was like, wow, they're cramming all of those people in there. But in our real world, that's the reality for a lot of people, say like in cities in China or like even here in the States. Mm-hmm. Like people obviously can't make enough money for whatever reason, and they have to cram their entire family into small buildings or like rooms, you know? It's very sad, but also you could tell they were happy.
It brings you closer together, you know, because you have no choice but to be together. You're crammed into like a one-bedroom apartment.
The amount of trauma that would cause everyone.
Yeah.
Anyways, storyboarding right off the bat, again, amazing. The animation for this whole season so far has been way better than both seasons. I swear,
every time I've watched season 3, I've blacked out because I'm watching this as if I've never watched it before. Like,
same.
I watched this episode today and I was thinking like, okay, I don't remember this happening. I remember parts of it happening, but there were a lot of scenes I don't remember happening. And it's kind of, I'm enjoying it because it's like I'm watching it for the first time again, you know? And there's just something so satisfying about that, especially with Korra. Like any Avatar series, watching it for the first time is just like such a pleasure, you know? So
My
I'm
pleasure.
excited. My pleasure.
Kai is still stealing things. What's new?
What do you expect though? Like you thought he was gonna change. It's been one
Oh my
episode.
god, so annoying.
He is, but think about it. Like they obviously needed him to do that, and Mako and Bolin to chase him to get to their family. Like it's part of the story. Although he's annoying, I mean it's all gonna add up.
Mako and Bolin's cousin literally tackles them.
There's so much to talk about. We really want to stay on track, so that's our goal with this episode. Wish us luck.
When they meet the Earth Queen, total bitch.
Total.
And I don't really like that. Not trying to be woke here, but the first Earth Queen of Ba Sing Se in years, and she is this way.
Yeah.
Like, she's just cold and callous.
You're annoyed right off the bat just because of her servant. The way that he's like, oh, don't do this and don't do that. And you have to do this. And you can tell Korra, like, already eye-rolling. And Korra does not mesh well with that.
She already knows what she's getting into.
Exactly. So when you finally meet the queen, you just want to slap her across the face. You're like, man, no one's ever done this, and you need a good slap across the face. Like a good one.
Which...
like a punch, maybe.
Kind of feel bad because what happens at the end of the season, but the Dai Li still exist? Question mark?
Yeah, they do.
I, for some reason, thought that they, like, not necessarily died, but, like, their Secret Service... whatever died in The Last Airbender, like their whole agenda.
Well, he did. They like captured him or he died or so. I don't even remember what happened.
No, not Longfang. I'm talking about the Dai Li.
Oh.
I thought they just stopped being the Dai Li. I thought they just disbanded.
No, I don't think
Did they not?
I don't think they ever stopped. I just think that we moved on, so you never really saw what happened with them.
Oh, that makes sense.
So it makes sense that they're around, but it's the same concept again.
So you can
we're
tell
revisiting the same kind of storyline. Just not as intense, I guess you could say.
Ba Sing Se hasn't changed since The Last Airbender. Because they have the Dai Li, the rich are more rich, the poor are more poor. It's just going to keep getting worse until literally people are dying. So I don't like... And I love how they're setting it up because we know at the end of this season, they get rid of monarchies, I believe. And that is a big reason of why their politics and government and culture is the way it is because of their monarchy, especially the Earth Queen right now.
You know, with the Earth Queen, when you first meet her, you already can't stand her because she's just annoying and completely rude. But when she asks Korra she's like, you know what, I'll do a favor for you, but you have to do a favor in return for me. First of all, when people are like that, they're toxic. Like, it's like, I'm only going to help you if you help me. Very manipulative, but not expected from the Earth Queen, right? So then Korra and Asami go to get these taxes that she supposedly can't get to because people are stealing from her, right? So you're like, okay, whatever. Korra goes to do it. And, okay, I want to talk about this moment for a little bit because I enjoyed this so much. Mako and Bolin at this point tried to hunt down Kai. They found him, but he escaped, and now they're in the lower ring staying the night because they can't go back to the upper ring because they don't have any money because Kai stole it all. What a surprise.
Ooh, love his character.
But Korra and Asami now are having to transport these taxes from, I don't even know where they're at. Are they in the lower ring? I don't know where they went.
No, they're at a different area.
Yeah.
They're kind of by like where they found Kai.
Anyway, they're transporting this back to Ba Sing Se to the Earth Queen because this is what her favor is. And these guys come, obviously, like it's what Isaac said. It's like kind of like a Mad Max kind of thing.
So cringy. And I think Mad Max, the like reboot movie, came out around this same time. They were probably animating the show or this season. And I said it looks like the bandits look like Mike and Brian's Mad Max AU alternate universe. Because they do. I
kind of love it though. Yeah.
I love it, but I'm also like I can't get that out of my head. I'm like, okay, so Mad Max
is in Avatar.
Is the same universe as Avatar? Question mark.
In this situation, though, the way that it's just literally Asami and Korra, the way they handle themselves, it's such a girl power moment that I'm like, yes, I'm living for this. I'm loving this because obviously they're underestimated because these bandits are like, oh, you're just two girls. What are you going to do?
It makes me want more solo stories or solo missions with Korra and Asami.
Oh, so bad. And the thing is up until this point, we really haven't seen Asami, like, in her full potential of fighting. Like, we've seen her use weapons to fight against people, but you're really seeing her, like, do these flips and tricks and, like, taking down people. And then you have Korra, who's the bender, of course. She's the Avatar. She bends all four elements.
You're the Avatar, and I'm an idiot.
She can handle herself. But Asami can handle herself just as well, and she's not a bender. And it just makes me so happy. And I do wish there were moments like that with her and Korra a lot more just fighting, because they're so good together, like they really do complement each other in that way. And they were able to fight off the bandits. But when the bandits leave, they say, you're on the wrong team, Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
And they're saying, like, the queen that's not the queen's money, it's ours.
It's
and
the people's money.
Yeah, and Korra goes, why do I have a feeling he's right? And you just know he's right because the queen is an evil B-I-T-C-H. I was like, B-T-C-H.
Well, first of all, that looked like a lot of tax money.
Yeah.
So,
well, and
she was complaining about how the only thing she was complaining about her citizens, she wasn't complaining about their well-being. She was complaining that they weren't paying enough taxes.
This makes me want to talk about something else that we could relate this to, like a specific person that we could relate the Earth Queen to that really doesn't care about the people and is just very narcissistic and selfish. But we're not going to go there. So, yeah. When the Earth Queen is that way, it makes sense that maybe she is stealing from the people. Maybe she doesn't have the people's best interest at heart,
I think Korra already knew that going into it. I just think it was, like, front and center, like, confirmed for her when she confronted the bandits. Mm-hmm. So she was like, you know what?
They're right.
This is going to be a doozy of a mission right now.
Yeah. And while all that's going on, Mako and Bolin end up meeting their family. And if you remember, their parents are dead, so they've had no family but one another. And they know that they have family in the lower ring of Ba Sing Se, but they just happen to come across them.
Yeah, that's also why I'm like, they didn't really need Kai, but I guess they did. To get them to their parents.
Yeah.
Or their family.
I'm not gonna lie, I cried. Isaac came downstairs and I was crying, and I'm like, I'm not crying. I mean, I'm a baby, I cry everything, but like having Mako and Bolin meet their grandma and their family, and you can tell Bolin's so open to that because it's Bolin. Mako is more standoffish because that's his personality, but you can tell it's like they don't even know like what to do with family. I mean, Bolin always knows how to be around people, but Mako, it's like he's standoffish, he's like, wow, I haven't been around family, but I'm so happy to have it now. And then they have that moment with their grandma where she's showing them the pictures, and he gives her the scarf. And it just like is such a sentimental, great moment that I'm happy that they got to have.
What about when Korra gets back and she's like, here's your tax money. And the Earth Queen's like, okay, you can leave now. There is no airbenders here. Yeah. And Korra's like, I'm not going to stop and bend the knee to you.
Another thing, Mako and Bolin find out from their family that the Earth Queen has captured all of the airbenders.
Yeah, so their cousin is like, yeah, word around the street is that she's basically like collecting these airbenders and putting them, again, deja vu, nostalgia.
The Dai Li is capturing them.
Underneath Ba Sing Se.
And then the grandma's like, don't say that about the queen, and like kisses her picture and is like, we love you. Again, relating to something else we're not going to talk about.
The last 4 years, if that tells anyone.
So it's Mako and Bolin are doing what they can to get back to Korra to inform her of this. And at the very end, Kai is captured by the Dai Li because he's an airbender just roaming around in Ba Sing Se stealing money. And you see all of these airbenders, and then the Dai Li tells them, like, you're going to be part of Earth
You're
Queens.
gonna be the Earth
Air,
Queens.
what are they? Air Army, some kind of like
something.
I mean,
Basically, they're gonna fight for the
way,
Earth Queen, and they're probably gonna use the
she's
same
smart.
brainwashing tactics.
She's real smart, like real smart. You know.
I don't know if she's smart. I just think that she is.
I mean, to hide them all for herself.
A bad person.
She is, but I'm just saying, like, if you were in her place and as evil as she was,
I don't think that's smart, though. I think that's what any, politician in her,
gosh,
I guess. I don't think she's smart. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, I think she is smart to some extent.
Cora already knows what she's up to when she first meets her, basically. It's so obvious. Anyways, Eska and Desna, I really love them as rulers of the Northern Water Tribe.
Forgot about them already. And then Zuko and
On the Dragon
Rock
never gets
show
old.
up to meet Eska and Desna. And
yeah,
they're like, wow, we have a hidden prison we didn't know about?
Yeah, your dad actually helped us build it.
This moment I loved because they go to this secret prison where Pali is, the last member of the Red Lotus, and everyone else has been freed from the Red Lotus by Sahir at this point. So they're like, well, she's next, so we need to make sure she's like extremely protected and doesn't get out. So it's Eska, Desna, Zuko, and Tonrock. And
they're in the elevator.
And Zuko's explaining who this prisoner is, and he's like, I once hired a man similar to her to kill the Avatar. And he looks at them.
And
Tonrock's looking at him, and he's like, he didn't succeed.
And then Eska's like, yeah, I tried to kill the Avatar too because she got in the way of my marriage. And it's just like...
It's that moment they both connect. Like, sometimes it happens.
Like, they actually have a really good connection. And it's weird because it's Eska and Zuko.
It's so funny though. It's a good moment, and you don't, at this point you really haven't seen Zuko except for one other episode, so you're craving for him. You're like, man, I want to see interactions with him, and it's just
hey
cool.
guys, Zutara can still happen. They're still alive.
Oh my god. I mean, there's still hope for you guys. And then there's also that moment where they go to see Pali, and she's like, I haven't had
First of all,
or like
the prison is like in between icebergs. Like, it's the coldest you can get. It's
so
Earth.
cold she can't firebend, or do
like
do
it's
anything.
so cold. It's literally like stopping her.
She's not dead.
Yeah, how does she not get hypothermia?
Right. But she says, "Oh, he must have escaped. I'm feeling warmer already." And you're like,
"Oh!" And then you see her breath.
Isaac mentioned it. It gives you very much Azula vibes.
Yeah.
I'm getting very much
just
because
she's like another fire female that's evil.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't show her eye yet, which I thought was really cool. In hindsight, like watching it back.
I mean, she's super tall, so when she leans down, you just see her mouth.
Yeah. But also, they're like hiding it because they don't want you to show. They don't want to show.
Makes me think of the mayor's assistant from Powerpuff Girls. You know how you never see her.
Oh my! The redhead.
Yeah.
The red dress and everything.
Yeah.
I loved this episode. It was.
Season 3 is already my favorite so far.
This episode, The Earth Queen, is one of my favorite episodes, honestly.
Yeah, this episode was so good. Just going back to Ba Sing Se and the different dynamics going on, and I'm actually caring about side characters. I'm actually caring about what's going on with Mako and Bolin and how Asami and Korra are fighting, and it's like they made me care again, whereas in season 2 I was like, I just care about Jinora and Korra, honestly.
Season 2 they had a lot to cover, and I think it's always difficult when you're dealing with spiritual subjects or like, I don't know, greater powers within a show like this, because it's like, how are we going to implement that without knowledge dumping, which they ended up doing with, what is it? Beginnings Part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Still love it.
Yeah, even though I don't necessarily like Kai's character right now, it was entertaining parts of him in this episode specifically, just because, like you said, it got Mako and Bolin to their their family. It got them to their parents' grave.
And it leads them to like you actually get to see at the very end the captured airbenders,
Yeah, you actually get to see that they're not going here for no reason.
Yeah, like there's a reason. And
there will be a payoff type thing.
I'm glad the Avatar, both Aang and Korra had that gut feeling to like stay, you know, to know to stay because there's something greater that's going on. Because it'd be so easy to turn a blind eye and just be like, okay, well, we're done here. There's no airbenders. Let's just move on. And it makes me happy to see that Korra specifically is pursuing it. I mean, that's Korra herself. She's going to do what's right or what she believes is right, even if she is very stubborn about it.
I can't reiterate this enough. I love the Earth Queen's like double nails on her pinky and ring fingers.
Oh my! The fact that you remember the exact fingers that
it's so good. Like it's just
like,
she just looks so.
She looks the part.
Yeah, she just looks so good.
You know, I go like, how do you go from her dad to her?
Yeah,
like there's a huge.
Her dad did not know what was going on at all, and she seems to be so involved, almost like she's Long Fang.
Yeah, like is that her dad? Kind of lines
question.
Up. I also forgot because she mentions to Korra like, the Avatar and the Fire Lord took advantage of my father and took part of the Earth Kingdom for basically Republic City for Republic City, and I forgot that was part of the Earth Kingdom. But it is such a cool place. Like, I love the idea of Republic City, and I'm glad that they implemented it into Korra.
It just makes me think of, like, Fortnite, when they had, like, the Viking map. And then, because, like, Ba Sing Se is still very... It's not as advanced, obviously, as Republic City. So you'll have, like, areas where it's, like...
It's because they depend on earthbenders to do everything.
But it's, like, the most populated city in all of Avatar, and it's still like this. And then you have Republic City that's, like, booming. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just weird that the same kingdom can have such drastic, but also, like, similar... I don't know what I'm getting at, but it's weird to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the southern and northern tribe. The northern tribe is still very much savagery, like the
like old school water tribe.
Yeah, but they're still advanced for water tribes, I guess.
Yeah. I love seeing Boomy. We should do what we were doing in like who's your favorite character so far?
Where okay, first of all,
who's
out of 10, how would out of 10, how would you rate this? 10 being like phenomenal.
This episode?
One of my top favorites or something.
This episode specifically or the season?
This episode.
Oh, I hate rating scales. I would say I don't know what a 10 would be for me.
I'm going to say an 8.5.
Yeah, I would rate it up there. It is a really great episode. There's so much going on, but not too much. Enough to where you're like, man, I want more of it. I mean, we really resisted not watching the next episode.
No, I'm going to bump that up to a 9 because there's little bits of action. It has a little bit of everything and it doesn't seem forced.
Yeah, agreed.
It just feels like a linear story is happening.
Yeah, it's probably one of the top episodes, which was funny because when we last watched Korra, we saw that this was the next episode and we were cringing. We were like, oh no, this episode. And then we watched it, we're like, we were so wrong.
I think that's another reason why I love this so much is because I was going into it already having low expectations.
Yeah,
and then the payoff was like really good.
And from the beginning, I'm like, oh, I'm liking this so far. Like, I'm interested. I can't stop watching. So I am very satisfied with how this turned out. Okay, who's your favorite character?
Who's my favorite gem?
Who's your favorite gem?
I don't know. This is hard. You go first. I'll have to think a little bit.
This is hard for me. Are we going to do just out of season 3 so far? Like the main characters? I feel like we should.
Yeah, I love... Okay, obviously, I think Boomy's a given.
Yeah.
The Earth Queen.
Oh
Even though she is the bittiest person ever in the Avatar universe.
You would choose the Earth Queen.
Her design, her story, her...
She's like my least favorite, but... Attitude is everything for me with people and characters.
She has whoever her voice actress is,
a phenomenal
amazing job.
Yeah, they chose a really good. You know who I was kind of I thought to myself like weird choice of voice actor, Mako and Bolin's uncle. Like it was just like a very generic voice.
It was like it kind of took me out a little bit.
Like I just imagined it to sound like more of an older man's voice.
Yeah,
and it was like a 20-year-old,
yeah.
like a mid-20s, early 30s.
Yeah,
like
I was
still
like,
young.
Okay, like
yeah.
And then his cousin's like, hey guys.
Oh my, they're
I'm
cousins.
so cool.
He's like, I bet you guys have never wondered what it's like to be poor. And they're like,
You don't even know the half.
Our parents died and we had to take care of ourselves. So try that. You sell rotten fruit? Try sleeping on rotten fruit.
Dang.
Okay, my favorite character this season so far, Asami. I'm really loving Asami.
Really?
Just that scene, the action scene we'd had with her, and the interactions we're seeing between her and Korra and their friendship and just everything, I'm really loving seeing her. You know, I love the screen time she's getting. I'm really enjoying her character. Boomy, I always love Boomy. I love the classic comedic relief character. I will always be a fan of him.
I'm going to say for me too.
There's really not a character actually right now that I don't like. Besides Kai's a little annoying, but I know that like that will get better.
When Janora was like,
"Where's Kai?" Of course, I knew she was going to be
Kai?
the one.
Or no,
she's the one that's like, "Where's Kai, everyone?"
Or no, she said something because in the beginning of this episode, when Kai's like training with Boomy and he ends up like beating him, and Janora like turns away and blushes, I was like,
"Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Janora making moves. She's trying to
making moves. What is it?
Janora." Our Janora song we have yet to release.
I'm gonna say Bolin is one of my favorites.
Bolin's been a good character this season.
His punchlines are actually tolerable this season, and they're actually funny.
I've always loved Bolin's character. I just love it. Like, he's such like a happy-go-lucky, innocent man. You know, like you just can't help but like want to be friends with him and like take care of him. That's how I feel.
I'm sorry,
like, I want to protect him.
I have to say it. Mako, sometimes when they show him standing, it looks so gay. Like, like he would like put on a wig and go on Drag Race or something. That's what it looks like to me.
Mako is a whole lot more tolerable this season than last season.
Oh, definitely.
I'm enjoying his character, actually. I'm not like completely irritated with him. So I'm not dissatisfied with anyone. They do an amazing job with the Earth Queen, they make sure you hate her. And if that's what they're trying to do, they are succeeding because I hate her. But yeah, every other character I'm satisfied with. I'm enjoying this season. We're only 3 episodes in, but I'm really enjoying it.
Could you imagine if the Earth Queen like slapped you and she had the nails on?
Ooh.
And like half your face just gets ripped off.
That's where Lynn got her scar from.
That would be an actual cool story, but we're getting way too far away ahead.
I think that's all we really did. We have anything else or points that we wanted to talk about with this one?
I don't know. All I can say is I'm super excited. Again, like we always say this, we wanted to keep watching, but we learned from last episode that if we're going to do...
It distracts us too much.
Yeah. We just get all over the place if we do more than one episode.
Yeah, I think one episode proves to be a pretty solid choice for us because it keeps us grounded in that one episode.
As always, I mean not as always because we haven't done this in a while, but let us know who your favorite characters are in this season so far, or just in this episode, and let us know why if you care to explain, because your
favorite? We love the Unagi. Who is your favorite character of season 3 and why? I'm curious. I mean, there's not a wrong answer here. I mean, there never is, but in this season, definitely, there's not anyone. Someone's like, Penna. Definitely.
I'd be like, she was in like 2 seconds of screen time. Yeah. I'm just gonna say it. I don't really care for the setup in the beginning of Avatar seasons.
What do you mean?
Kind of like this episode where they're setting things up, but I love this setup for season 3 so far. Season 1 was okay for me. Season 2 was kind of annoying a little bit.
Season 2 was annoying. The lead into it all. Once you get to like the middle and ending, season 2 for me really captures me. But
you know what I mean? Like the setup is supposed to be enticing. It's supposed to make you keep watching.
Mm-hmm. Season 1 and season 3 have definitely done that for me.
Yeah, especially like when you first hear about Amon in season 1. I think that's why this season 3 so far with the Earth Queen is really intriguing, and also because they're back in Ba Sing Se. But anyways,
I just noticed this. I love that in season 1 we're dealing with non-benders and kind of this like threat of, you know, like the anarchy kind of theme of it all. And then the second season we're dealing with waterbenders, and now we're dealing non-benders, like
the Red Lotus are all benders.
I'm talking about first season. We're dealing with like the biggest threat is Amon, he's a bender, but a supposedly non.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we have the non-benders. Then season 2 is all about water bending and the water tribes, and now we're on to season 3, and we're getting to see the Earth Kingdom, which is really exciting, and it carries on to season 4. But it's just nice, you know, because we're getting air vibes through it all.
Air vibes only.
Air vibes only, nothing more.
Feels like a great way to end this episode. Anyways, that was our episode.
That was our take on episode 3 of season 3 of The Legend of Korra.
3-3. And we will see you next week with another episode.
Yes, I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope this episode was a little more easy to follow compared to last week's. And like Isaac said, let us know who your favorite character is. Let us know what you think about this season, because we're really curious to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on it.
And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You can find us on our website at nonessentialmedia.com, on Twitter at Let's Avatar, and on Instagram at Let's Talk Avatar. Join us next week for another episode. And as always, thank you so much for all your support.